as an empath and intuitive, we have, when it comes to money and manifesting more money and moving to the next financial level and moving to wealth and into these sorts of levels that we desire of abundance, of plenty, there are some challenges that we actually have to overcome that makes it a little bit more difficult, not for us to manifest money, but to move out of identities, familiar identities. I'll give you an example. When you are in survival, which means that, you work hard for money, you feel like there's not enough, you're either like living paycheck to paycheck like I was as a nurse. I don't care how much money you make. I could make up to 10 grand and could still live paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because I was in survival. And because you can sense and you can feel other people's energies, when you say, oh yeah, I'm manifesting this amount of money, and then you constantly are in the presence and environments and sense people who are still in survival mode, right? Who are still in that lack and scarcity, it can really chip away, at your frequency, at your energy, at your sort of globe of feeling, for a lack of better words, into your aura, right? And so we have a unique challenge, like when people are saying, oh, I can't afford this. This is too expensive. The government, this, capitalism, that, and because we can sense that there actually is plenty, that source, creator, mother, God, universe has given us actually access to plenty, right? We know it, but then we see people, when we sense people and they're still in their survival states that we're trying to pull ourselves out of, that's challenging. And I was just thinking about this because I am calling in even more for myself. And I was like, dang, even being in proximity with people who are like, you're so optimistic. And part of that is like, they think that what they're saying is you're not realistic. You cannot be realistic if you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on to your empathetic gifts, your feeling, your intuition. What is happening on the outside cannot affect you, cannot chip away at your goals, at your frequency. You can't do it. This is why it's important as an empath, as an intuitive, to establish structure around your gifts. And I'm sensing that, and it makes me so emotional, because it's like, it can be lonely, it can be isolating. But part of the reason why it's important too for us to have wealth, us to have money as empaths, as intuitives, is because we're visionaries. You may even identify as neurodivergent. I don't really like to use that term personally, or disorder. I don't like that, because we're the orderly ones. But anyway, you're a visionary, and a visionary can see and sense what hasn't been developed yet. You can sense the nonprofits that are going to come from your wealth, right? Not to say you also have to take care of yourself, and you don't need money for that. Like, I'm at the park, I'm like, that's how your main structure, your main support is going to be nature and the earth holding you, your ancestors holding you. But so you don't need money for that. But in order to elevate, in order for you to demonstrate to people that money is actually meant to support us and that there's plenty, right, is for people to just simply see you, practicing what it's like to be an intuitive, kind, compassionate giver, right? Like, you know, and without having to rate. How amazing would it be for you to, you have this idea of, I don't know, some type of nonprofit where you're feeding the homeless, or you're, whatever the case may be. How amazing would that be for you to fund it as a millionaire? Because you, as an empath, as an intuitive, right, as someone who is prophetic, you could see the vision and you're like, okay, so because I know that there's plenty, I'm not taking anything from anyone by being a millionaire, or having, even if you don't want to be, not everyone wants to be a millionaire, right? That doesn't have to be, whatever it is, having more wealth. That's the importance of the empath, being wealthy. Maybe that'll be the title of the video. The mystery of the planet, of universe, by the way, this is a feminine energy, is magnetic. It's plentiful. And that's what you have to tap into as an empath, right? And yeah, it can be hard when all of the voices around, all of the feelings that you're picking up is of lack and scarcity. But you have to decide, we have to decide that we have to be different. And yeah, it's isolating when you can't take part in conversations where people are like, oh, I can't afford this, there's not enough, oh, the rich are evil, blah, blah, blah. I know plenty of poor people too who are rich, or who are, what am I trying to say? Yeah, rich in integrity, but also like not very good people. You have to be different. You have to embrace that. And that can be challenging and isolating, which is why I created, why the Empath Mystery School for Women was created. Because you have to be different. When we're talking about 1%, for the empath, the intuitive, who can sense and see the vision of what could be, you got to be different. You got to be different. You got to be like delusional, right? And that's because you know within you. So establishing boundaries and structures, that's what I've been able to do with people around me who are in survival. You have to be able to separate yourself from that energy without cutting them off, and you can still surround yourself with them, or like be in proximity, but it takes some structure, some deep tending to your inner sanctuary to make sure that you're not participating in the same energy and the same kind of activities that actually prompt them to live in survival, which you don't want to return to, right? Like you can't participate in that. You can't participate in that type of energy anymore. You got to be different. You got to be wild. You got to be free. You got to be like, I know what it looks like, but that's not what it is. And that doesn't mean preaching to people who do not believe it. You don't do that. Because I used to do that. I used to be like, oh, well, you just like, that's me trying to have control and power over them. My job is to tend to my own inner sanctuary and my own power to elicit change. And that means tending to myself, making sure I protect myself with my boundaries and all of that stuff in love, right? So that's why I created the school. And I have some resources for you if you're starting, if you're ready to embrace being different, and the cost and the cost of your old identity, your old survival, and ready to separate yourself energetically from those survival and scarcity, and those dysregulated nervous systems. Click the link below. I have a bunch of links below, more info about the Empath Mystery School for Women. We're pulling you out of survival and burnout. That's the work that I've been doing, because I see a vision. I see how the planet can be healed, even though people will say that I'm crazy, that I'm not realistic, that I'm delusional, that I'm too optimistic. I don't care. I'm going to have to be different. Even days like this where it's hard to be different. So click the link below. I would be so happy to help lead and guide you in that. And then you could also get more information, especially if this is your first time coming across my work, more about me and why I am doing the work that I do. Okay, I love you. Bye.